Welcome to All That Catholic Stuff. I'm Chris Bray.
You just need to know you are the beloved child of God.
Poop. That's what we're talking about this episode. Poop, infused righteousness, and imputed righteousness. Most Catholics right now probably have no idea what I'm talking about. And honestly, that's okay, because though these definitions might be unfamiliar to you, I'm pretty sure that the concepts that they describe are not. One of the long-standing debates between Protestants and Catholics is just the way in which we become righteous. And there's really two avenues of describing this reality. The first one is with imputed righteousness, that God declares us to be righteous, even though maybe we are not, even though maybe sin remains. And the second one is infused righteousness, that God actually washes away our sin. He cleanses us, He makes us holy, and in making us holy, He also declares us holy. Let's start with the first example of imputed righteousness, where many people will cite Romans chapter 4, where St. Paul talks about Abraham, how Abraham believed God and it was credited to him as righteousness. Credited or reckoned or imputed to him. Abraham believed and God declared him righteous. It's true that God does declare us righteous. And in Romans chapter 4 and in the Old Testament, God declared Abraham righteous. But He declared him righteous because he also not only believed, but lived out his belief in God. And James chapter 2 makes this very clear for us. It says that Abraham was justified by works. Not only did he just believe God and then just completely ignored what God instructed him to do, but Abraham believed God and obeyed God. He did what God asked him to do, and because of this belief, he was righteous. God declared him righteous because he actually was righteous. God is not a liar. Like, God doesn't declare something to be true that it is not. What He declares, He makes actual. That brings us to the Catholic view of righteousness, which is infused righteousness. That God actually cleanses our sin, washes our sin away. He makes us holy. He declares us to be holy because we are, because His righteousness has been infused inside of us. This only makes sense because God actually instructs us to be holy like He is holy. We can't get to heaven with sin and imperfection. It's not possible. There is no sin and imperfection in heaven. So if God merely just declares us to be righteous, even though we're not going to be able to make it to heaven. God actually needs to cleanse us and purify us. He needs to infuse His righteousness into us to cleanse us. And we're not capable of doing this on our own. We rely on God. And this right here is where the poop comes in. Are you ready for this? A big steaming pile of dung. A big pile of poop. And this poop is sitting there, but what God does is He declares us righteous, and so this beautiful white snow falls down, all covering up this poop. Have you ever gone walking in the wintertime and accidentally stepped on a steaming pile of poop that you didn't see because it was covered with snow? It's not fun. It's a sad reality. God doesn't just cover over our poop with this blanket of snow. No. Actually, He cleanses us. He takes the poop away. Take my poop away. Sorry about that. Problem is sin. The problem is poop. And it's a crappy problem to have, I must say. But the problem is sin. What do we do with sin? If there's no sin in heaven, but we sin now, then this declared righteousness business, actually, it doesn't work. It doesn't make logical sense. 1 John chapter 3 reminds us that if we sin, we are of the devil. He who is righteous practices righteousness. God is not a liar. What He declares, He makes actual. If He declares us righteous, it's because He's actually made us holy. He's made us righteous. He's washed away our sins. And that is the Catholic view of infused righteousness. It's the biblical view of how God makes us righteous. Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this video, I have 4 things for you to do. The first one is to like my Facebook page. The second one is to share this video. The third one is to go to my website, chrisbraymusic.com, and subscribe to receive all that Catholic stuff to your inbox. And the fourth one is to consider bringing me to your faith community for a parish mission, a night of worship, or a youth event.
You just need to know you are the beloved child.